you would have said this is a joke. This is never going to happen. But it did. It did because we were led by someone who understood the power of what it is that we have. But we don't understand that. Deep down, secretly, within many, many, many Muslims is this idea that we're not right. Oh, we may be right about God and, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. But when it comes to government or banking or technology or science, we really will never ever be able to figure it out. That's what really a lot of Muslim people think. They don't say it out loud, but they basically think we're always going to be behind. We're always going to be wrong. We're always going to be... And so, in other words, what we really have to do is just become like Western people, but use Arabic words. Go to mosque on Friday instead of Sunday. Teach religion part of the time instead of all of the time. Base laws on things nothing to do with faith, like with constitutions and other things. And just keep all of the systems that are in place in the world right now exactly as they are, but maybe put Arabic names over them. If this is how you understand Islam, then I have to tell you, really, why bother practicing it? Because Islam is different. Islam is about the idea that the whole world can be fixed, and that we're the ones to fix it. Not because we're God's chosen people, but because we're the people that chose God. And if you really understand that, and if you really look at all the places over the last 1,400 years where that has really been understood, and the magnificence of the culture that was built in every place that really got it, you would say that the task in Egypt is not to replace the parliament or the courts or the garbage collection system. The task in Egypt is with patience, stages, wisdom, and understanding to rebuild the entire country from the bottom up, from the most illiterate rickshaw driver all the way through to the top court in the land. And that project to rebuild the whole society on Islamic principles is not going to start in the government, but at least now the government should not be the one to get in the way. And so this idea that if we get rid of everybody in 5 minutes who is part of the old society because they are corrupt, yes, they are corrupt. But if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create the world in an entire day, if Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't get rid of alcohol by death penalty in 1 minute, if those issues were not done in stages, then why is it that we can't reason through and in stages replace something that is broken with something that is fixed? And that requires patience, that requires education, that requires a population that understands where they are going and has confidence in the true meaning of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. But I will tell you that people get the quality of leaders they have because of the quality of followers. I've seen this in any organization in every country in the world. And so when the people themselves don't really understand the power of the deen, it is natural that the government would be impatient with this deen. When the people are addicted to rituals and phrases without understanding what they mean, and blind repetition and rote learning, as opposed to thinking and understanding, then the government will be addicted to all the same things. It is inevitable. There is no separation between the leader and the kind of people he leads. And this is the truth. This is the truth. So, my comment on Egypt is that what is happening there right now is exactly what is going to happen in every country in the Muslim world. If we don't educate our people to understand that our project is so much more important than getting a parliament where people can count a vote properly. Our project is about the reinvention of human life. We are living in a world where life is cheap, honor is gone, dignity is denied. We are living in a world that is as corrupt as the world Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam walked into in Arabia 14 centuries ago. You may think 14 centuries have passed, so human beings have progressed, and this is not the truth. The reason why messengers were sent to every single nation over every period of time is that human beings don't move forward. They move in cycles. Sometimes they are good, and a lot of times they're bad. And when they're bad, they get a prophet or a messenger or a leader to remind them of what the right way is. If people moved forward and continuously got better than they were, there would be no need for multiple messengers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have stopped at Adam alayhi salam, or maybe Musa, or maybe Ibrahim. But it is the nature of people that there is something crooked in all of our souls that goes backwards rather than forwards, even when the truth is presented to people. Isa alayhi salam was able to, through the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, raise a man from the dead in front of a group of people. You would think that of all the things you see on your way into work, that might mean something or count for something. But even after raising a man from the dead, people found a way to blow it and to question the quality of his message, to question the quality of his ideas. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you can give any miracle you want to people, for He has done so. And even then, they'll find a way to twist away from the obligation that the one who has produced that miracle has in fact believed. A man with no education and no literacy dictates a book 1,000 pages long with 114 chapters about every aspect of life. 1 billion people, most of whom don't speak that man's language, recite that book and try to live by it. You want a miracle? Ask yourself when that's going to happen again in your lifetime. Look around at you in this mosque. You have brown, black, white, blue-eyed, brown. Every group of people is sitting here in this masjid. They don't know each other. No one told them to come. No one forced you to be here. They're listening for a lecture for a half hour when nobody listens. You can't listen to the president for a half hour. Networks are saying it's too long. And all of you are here, facing penalties from your bosses, or grief from your classmates, or anger from your professors. Why? Not to see me. It's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has penetrated your heart and told you that something is right. We are the miracle that we are looking for, but we don't get it. We don't get it. There's no amount of money that can get people to gather in a space at a set amount of time, day after day, for 50 consecutive years. And many of you have been coming to khutbahs for 50 consecutive years. No amount of fame, no amount of power, no amount of guilt. You do it because you believe something. And what you believe is worth more than all of those things put together. So I'm asking you to believe in something else. Believe in the example of the messenger who built a society that could last for 1,000 years. But that society was built on wisdom and understanding, on people knowing what they were here to do and why. We have taken the Islamic project and we have stripped it of all meaning. And so we get leaders who don't understand its meaning and run around impatiently from one thing to another. Am I upset at Brother Morsi? No, everyone has to learn. But what I'm more interested in is what Morsi's behavior reveals about his own lack of understanding of the power of his position. What I'm more upset about is what the whole situation reveals about the people's lack of understanding. Egypt is just a set of lines on a map. Egypt is part of Darul Islam. And if Egyptians understood that, all Egyptians understood that, and all Muslims understood that, everybody would be in Egypt right now helping our brothers and sisters. You know, if the garbage can't be picked up, or if there's problems with money, why do the Egyptians need $2 billion, to prop up the economy from America, when the Saudis generate $1 billion a day in oil revenue? You don't think Saudi Arabia could say, or so-called Saudi Arabia, look, here's 2 days of our money to our brothers and sisters in Islam to build the greatest consumer market in Africa. Let's fix it. 2 days out of 365 in a year. What is the difference? Why is Pakistan running around with a cap in hand and looking for money from Western governments? We have money in the Muslim world. We have oil in the Muslim world. We have all kinds of resources, with doctors and teachers and educators. There's no part of the Muslim world that lacks something that another part of the Muslim world needs. None. But why is there no assistance given? I tell you why. Because people don't see it as their duty. Oh, it's Egypt. It's not me. I'm a Pakistani or a Somalian or an Ethiopian or I'm a Chechen. Right? What does this mean? You're a Muslim, man. And if you're not a Muslim, honestly, none of the rest of it matters. God will decide how much the rest of your life matters, and I don't want to be there when that judgment is rendered. So, what is happening in Egypt is happening to us, not just to the Egyptians. The debates they're having are debates we should be having. The structures they need are structures we need here. You say, wait a minute, we have a Canadian government. Really? How much is that government doing for you? They're taking care of your kids? Is it going to make them righteous people? You're teaching them how to prosper in the world and have dignity and independence? Have you sat in a public school recently? Have you been to a hospital? Spent any time in a bank? Look around, man. We're in Egypt right now. This is Cairo. And the garbage sits on the streets over here too. Just comes in different packages. And corruption is in our court system too. Just in different disguises. We got lots of poor people here too. We are Cairo. Cairo is us. And so the lessons of what's happening in Egypt are lessons for all of us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us and have mercy on us. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. My brothers, if I have a message for you today, part of it is patience and part of it is don't settle for ordinary. You see, when you look at the world around you, and the world is filled with evil, evil becomes ordinary. And so it is, a man says that what is ordinary is what is expected. No. To be a Muslim is to expect the extraordinary. Not just of yourself, but of your society around you. It is ordinary for people to wander around the world and not remember God. It is extraordinary to take 5 times a day to stop what you're doing to pray to God. It's ordinary for people to eat 3 meals a day. It is extraordinary to spend 30 days in one consecutive month to remember God and those who have no food. Ordinary person takes money, puts it in his pocket. The extraordinary person reaches into that pocket and takes 2.5%, 4%, or 5%, whatever percentage of his wealth, and gives it to someone who needs it every year. We are not the ordinary people. We're in the business of extraordinary. Extraordinary in our personal conduct. When everyone around us is lying, we should be the ones telling the truth. When everyone around us is drunk, we should be the ones that are sober. When everyone around us takes advantage of those that are weaker than them, we're the ones who reach our hands to lift them up and protect them. You know, if you look at society as though it was a battlefield and there are people that fall down, some people run away from those who fall down and some people go back. We're the people that go back. Our lives are meant to be extraordinary. Our institutions are meant to be extraordinary. Our leaders are meant to be extraordinary. We live, even though we know we will die, for thousands of years, because our conduct is reflecting the light of God to generations who will never meet us, but who will understand us. We never met Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, but every time we meet an honest man, we see a reflection in that honest person of what the most honest person who ever lived might have been like. We never met Umar al-Khattab, but any time we see a strong person defending a weak person, we are reminded of what his character might have been like. We never met a friend necessarily like Abu Bakr Siddiq, but any time someone backs us under enormous personal odds, just because they know us, we are reminded of Abu Bakr Siddiq when the king came to him about Isra and Miraj and his defense of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Our lives are meant to be extraordinary. You, me, our parents, our children, all of us. Why? Because we believe in La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, and the most extraordinary thing of all in the universe is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So let us not expect of our government what ordinary people expect of their government. And let our government not expect of us what ordinary citizens do. Look to your life as the opportunity to paint a painting of conduct, character, righteousness, planning. Have the patience to understand what you're good at, what you're not good at, and what you need the help of others to achieve. Don't wait for other people to tell you how you can change the world. Talk to each other, one masjid at a time, and figure out how to do it. This is the spirit that will change the ummah, and this is the spirit that will change the world. We pray for the people of Egypt.